YouTube is live. Okay. And our stupid. That's not the stupid logo. The stupid logo is the one that I created for the YouTube page. That's the stupid logo because when you watch it on the phone, it says "He Odd Times Podcast." It sounds like we're 1800s. Welcome to the farm report. The Lord has come down from on high and told us we can't use fertilizer on our cornfields. Okay. I was using the other thing. I was like, how do I get this started? I already forgot. All right. It's too early. I'm not usually alive at this hour. Showtime. And go.
Now recording.
And we're back. Welcome to episode 55. I'm Mac.
Cinco.
Yes. I don't think that's how you say it, but it's close.
No, but sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Kaz. How are y'all? It's actually morning. Still. Yes.
My
We're
grandma
changing things up a little bit.
My grandma got in a fist fight with her neighbor, and they were MMA fighting, so she had to get stitches. No,
Who won that? I never did get to see the other person.
Yeah, it was the stairs. The stairs defeated both of them. No, grandma fell off the stairs last night, so off her porch trying to feed her kitties, and so we had to go and deal with that. So that was fun. How you been?
Good.
It's
Good.
I'm gonna say this out loud, and it's probably gonna jinx it. It's perfect here in Oklahoma right at the moment.
Oh, it's so nice.
Absolutely perfect.
63 degrees. I sit on the back porch with a cup of coffee and a nice little stogie. I had to turn the fan off. It was so cool.
That's
It's
awesome.
cold.
That's awesome. That's the way I like it. I'd rather be cold than hot.
Yes.
I'm a snow monkey from the far north, so. Yeah, I just found out because at our job we basically you can pick your vacations every year around December, and it's how much ever time you have allotted to you, you pick your vacations, and I always try to space mine out. I never really have things planned. We just kind of wing it, and found out 2 weeks I'm on vacation, so we're planning a fun little getaway. We were going to go do stuff anyway. We were actually going to go do stuff today, but since we didn't get back until almost 1 o'clock in the morning, we ended up not doing much. We did go on a little drive yesterday, and I found Lake Chickasha. Let me tell you, I believe, yeah.
I like it.
Well, we were driving, and the girl saw sign said Lake Chicks, let's go. So we did. There's one sign, just one. There's no other signs. There's just the one. And then you drive for about 20 miles. And there's several turns. So if you're not using GPS, you won't find it. It's a place where they hide bodies. That's where killings happen at that lake for sure. There was nobody there except the Culligan man. He's sitting down on this parking area when we drive by. And he's just boom, 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 boom. You could hear him from across the lake. I'm like, he just got done dumping a body. For sure. For sure. So we park and we walk down, and it's up in hill, there's a lot of hills and stuff. So we walk down the hill, and there's like a chapel that's like submerged. So all you see is like the decking's getting water lapped over it. It's like a floating chapel. And it's not connected. It's just sitting out there kind of in the lagoon. And just the cross is sitting up, and I'm like, that's creepy. It's kind of creepy. I'm more than likely, because of where it's at, and Chickasha, I believe, is a college town. Sort of. I bet that was a summer camp thing for Christians to go get baptized. It's what I think. More than likely.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Or for the killers to, target their next victim. I'm not kidding you. That lake creeped me out, dude. Creeped me out.
There was one out there.
Huh?
I didn't even know there was one out there.
So, fun fact, it was built in the 50s, I think. Man-made lake. I think there's more man-made lakes in Oklahoma than any other state in the Union. I'm probably wrong. I've been known to be wrong about everything I say. So I'll just Google that because that's an easy enough thing. So what have you been up to this week while I look that up?
I worked too much this week. That's all I gotta say. I worked way too much this weekend. I got a day off next week for a long weekend and told the boss I'd work extra for him if he wants it.
Oh!
I'm not gonna remind him.
Guess who isn't wrong? Guess who
What?
isn't wrong? I'm getting ready to switch it over so everybody can see how right I am. What state has the most man-made lakes? Oklahoma has the most man-made lakes in the United States. Most lakes in Oklahoma were created by building dams across streams. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation and the Grand River Dam Authority constructed the major lakes in Oklahoma. Texas also has many man-made lakes.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
It's
Now
one of-
your head's bigger.
Yeah, it's not going to fit out the door. I know. No. So I know there's people in our audience that have this same issue where I'm not smart, but I remember these weird little facts that nobody else will remember, and they just pop in my head. I think it's the ADD mixed with the autism. So,
It's yeah, and I do things like that about songs and music and
oh yeah,
movies. My kids are like,
you know
"Why
that
do you remember
stuff.
so much about movies." It's
Mhm.
like I'm just, I'm not all there.
The amount of time where I'm like, I don't think that's right, and Kaz is like, oh, bitch, go look it up, and then I'll look it up, and I'm like, oh, look at that, you're right. I know.
Go ahead. Okay, so you got one. So go ahead and tell me about what you said to me last night about something you watched.
Oh, The Crow. Yeah, I was wrong about The Crow. I'm completely 100% wrong about it not being a very good movie. That movie's fantastic. I just rewatched it last night. Everything about that movie is great. I mean, the CGI, but you got to remember it's 94. CGI
Right.
is kind of a new thing. They've used it,
Right.
but it's still... And Brandon Lee got killed, so they hadn't finished the movie, so...
Yeah, they had to do something, but I mean, I like everything about it, because the little things, like the daughter's mom cooking her eggs the next morning.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, she woke up and she was like, "How do you like your eggs?" "I don't remember."
She's
And
like...
she's like, "Darling, what'd you take?"
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Yeah.
"Yeah, what's wrong with you?"
Oh,
She's
F
like,
this.
Yeah, she was like, basically, she said had an intervention because he just grabbed her, and all the heroin came out of her arm.
Well, I think it was morphine. He said morphine.
Is it morphine, heroin?
Yeah.
I
I don't know the difference. I don't know the difference. So that movie is quintessential. If you don't know what grunge is, that movie is
Yes.
the definition of grunge music.
Yes,
It
definitely.
literally, every time I was watching this and I was like, oh, that sound Stone Temple Pilots song.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's The Cure. It's like, this is just quintessential, just grunge. I had forgotten about, and I told you this when we first got online, I had forgotten about the brother and sister. I love that actor. The way he plays a bad guy and his deep voice.
Oh yeah.
That guy's amazing. And
Yes.
he's
plays a good bad guy.
he's a working actor. That guy has been in a lot of stuff. Currently, he's got stuff coming out. But I had forgotten about the sister brother thing.
Michael Wincott, right?
Yes, that's correct. But
That picture of him on IMDb
doesn't look like him.
does not look like him from The Crow.
I'm gonna switch scenes here and put that up. Okay. Okay. Well, maybe if I click that usually works.
And to think that he was the bad guy. Was he the cousin of the sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood, Prince of
Yes. Wait,
Yes.
was he?
Thieves? Yes.
Let's see.
Yes.
See, I'm not going to question that because I've been wrong more times than I've been right. Because so
Because I love that movie too. So
so Kaz and I were talking about, because I watched some stuff. We'll get into it in a minute, but it was the movie Tombstone, and yeah, my opinion of that movie's gone down a tad. It's still a good movie, still like it, but we'll talk about it. But he was telling me, oh, it's got this guy in it. And I was like, I don't think that guy's there. He goes, yeah, that's John Connor, bud. And I was just like, I don't think you're right. And then I was watching it and I was like, oh shit, he's correct. Oh, there's the guy from 90210. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. And that was just so funny, especially to see, the guy that chased all the girls in 90210 just to be in love with
And the
yeah,
actor.
he's a little, yeah, the,
I think the biggest part of the movie that I didn't like in Tombstone was the love story. I think that kind of
Yeah.
detracted from it. Because we'll get to it. We'll get to it anyway.
because I mean, it has some truth to it, I do believe.
Oh, the whole thing's pretty close to accurate. I mean, there's
Yeah.
it's pretty close. But I mean,
The
it's a
Littlest
movie.
Hobo.
Yeah, I saw that. He's
Yeah.
been acting since 1979.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. You know what's even more impressive? That I was right about Iggy Pop being in The Crow. He's not in this Crow. He's in the second Crow.
Okay.
And when you look up Iggy Pop, that dude is an actor. He's been in animated movies. I'll pull him up in a minute. What was the movie that I first saw him? So I think The Crow was the first movie that I saw Michael Wincott. But there was another movie that he was in he was creepy as all get out. Maybe it's up
I don't
here.
know.
It can't
Talking
be.
about
It
Michael
can't,
Wincott?
yeah, it can't be.
Creepy?
Wasn't he in an Interview with a Vampire? Or am I mistaking that? I thought he was in a vampire movie.
You said he was, but I didn't see that.
I'm probably getting him wrong.
I didn't look.
I'm looking here. Born on the 4th of July. I didn't know he was in that. The Doors. Didn't know that. Guy of Gisborne. He was the. Oh,
Yeah, that's the cousin. He's the one that was chasing at the very beginning when they first came back to England, and they were after the kid, and the kid was run up the tree, and Robin Hood, what'd he do? Take the swords away from three guys, and then that guy.
Oh, and that had Morgan Freeman in it too.
Yeah.
That's why that movie's good. Kevin Costner can.
Mhm.
The other guys outact him, so it makes it good. It makes sense.
The Count of Monte Cristo. No, I don't think I've seen that.
Dude, he's done. Oh, no
Treasure
wonder
Planet.
Darksiders 2. I love that game. He's Death, the main character. That makes sense. Dude has a
The voice.
fantastic voice. Okay, so
Oh, he does.
so I'm gonna look this up because I looked this up while watching Iggy Pop, actor Crybaby, 1990. Okay, let's go through and let's just look at his credits real quick because this surprised me. 1983. Of course, most of this is, but look, he was in The Color of Money in 1986. Shannon's Deal, Tales from the Crypt. Like this guy was acting back in the 80s, but he was a musician first and foremost, a shock jock, I guess you would say, or shock musician.
Yeah, he's Red Hot Chili Peppers, right?
No,
No.
It's a punk rock. It's a punk band. I can't remember because I never listened to punk. Let's see.
Depends on what it is.
What? I don't remember. God damn, I can't remember. Computer animations in the Lord of the Rings Fellowship used his movement and body as basis for the character Gollum. That's some trivia you didn't know, guaranteed.
No, it's not. Yeah.
And somebody's probably going to watch this and scream.
Oh,
It's a famous band. You've heard of them. I've heard of them, but I don't know. I'll look it up in a minute.
I'm looking
But-
it up right now. I'm gonna keep going.
I was just okay. Let's just look at no actor. 48 things. I was just surprised because he's not the typical kind of guy that you would think would be an actor. Like, not that he
No.
can't, but
Why did I think? I think he was Iggy Pop. I think that's what it was.
mm-hmm. And it's not showing everything on here. Oh wait, no, now we're getting it. I think because he's in Crow City of Angels, and I'm not seeing that.
Stooges with the ground breaking.
There you go. Yes.
Stooges.
Yeah, the Stooges. I never listened to him. I don't like punk rock. That's,
1969
mhm.
is when they.
And he would cut
Yeah.
himself. He would cut himself with a razor blade on stage and look, there it is. Crow City of Angels. Curve. Who was the main protagonist in that?
I did not watch it because I had heard bad things about it, so I never watched it.
I don't remember. It's got a 4.6, so it must not be good. It probably leaned into the emo stuff real hard and mixed the grunge stuff. Who is that actress? Mia Kirshner. Yeah, Iggy Pop.
I mean, there was even
I've
a
seen
movie
it.
called the Crow Salvation. It had Kirsten Dunst in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I never saw that either.
Another one called The Crow Wicked Prayer.
Oh wow.
The Crow Stairway to Heaven had Mark Dacascos in it. Yeah, no, I never
When
saw any of
you
those.
when you watch that, the storytelling in the original Crow is, I think, probably one of the best ways that you can come back and explain a character, because it's all done through flashbacks.
Right.
And it's done while he comes out of the grave. And if you haven't seen it, it came out in '94. Suck,
Yeah, we're not.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So him and Shelley. So the beginning of the movie starts off. There's a fire, and the police are there. And Ernie Hudson, you'd remember if you watched Ghostbusters. He's the Black Ghostbusters. Ernie Hudson's amazing, by the way.
He is an amazing actor.
I absolutely love that guy.
Yes.
But he's there investigating a crime scene. You meet the little girl, and then cut to the girl and the cop. They show you without exposition dumps. They're not sitting there going, well, I've been a cop for 37 years and you're the
Right.
daughter of a drug user. They show instead of tell. So every time Brandon Lee gets a piece of his past, because he's been dead for a year when he comes back, and so he's stumbling through, and the crow, he can see through the eyes of the crow, and he starts having these visions. So he gets, like, there's one scene where he goes into the pawn shop after he kills 1010, which I was so happy. I mean, and the one-liners are horrible, but if you keep in mind that Brandon Lee's character's dead.
Yes.
So, like,
there are some good one-liners. Like when he first meets Ernie Hudson again, he said, "Freeze or you're dead."
and he's like, I'm dead.
And I walk.
Yeah. And he walks into the gun. The actor that played the pawn shop owner, freaking love that dude.
I love him too. He's been in all kinds of stuff.
He is such a piece of shit. John
Always.
Polito. But like the way it goes is like he touches photographs, and you see the love in flashbacks, and they're not long. They're very small amount of the movie, but you learn that these two were madly in love. No dialogue. There's no dialogue. It's just flash images. And now modern movies would have to explain it verbatim because they treat the audience like they're morons.
Right.
I noticed that about that movie. The other thing I noticed was that it was concise. Like, there wasn't a lot of wasted scenes in this movie. Like, everything had a purpose to be in the movie. Like the brother and sister. The first scene when you meet them and the dead girl, and I think we broke her. It's to show you these two are psychopaths, and she cuts out her eyes, and then
she said her eyes are so beautiful.
And then I didn't remember Candyman was in this.
Yeah. He's like his bodyguard.
Tony Todd. Yeah, he's like his right-hand man.
Right-hand man.
Dude, I was like, we were watching it last night, and it was just like, because a lot of movies you put on, especially modern movies, and you talk during it, especially if you've seen it before. So the person watching it with me has never seen it, so it was like, cool. So we're watching it. We get done. I'm like, what'd you think? She's like, that was freaking great. We should watch all of them. I go, no, they go downhill from here.
I don't know about it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. As much of a fan as I am of the original, I could never bring myself to watch it. And to know there's, what I say, 5 different ones or something like that.
So the director,
1, 2, 3, 4.
The director is a Greek born in Egypt. Alex Proyas. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He did Dark City, iRobot. I didn't know he did iRobot. Gods of Egypt.
Will Smith?
Yep. He did that one.
I love that movie.
I do too, but let's see. What does it have on IMDb? It has a 7.1. That's about right. That's a great movie, and it's got.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
You want to hear a bad joke? Have you ever seen Serenity?
Yes.
So you know
Love
the
that movie.
pilot. You know the pilot's name is Wash.
Uh huh.
So how do reavers clean their spears? Obviously, they run them through the wash. Because the end of the movie, he gets stabbed in the chest. That's a horrible joke. I apologize. It's so dark.
I like, because really and truly, before the movie The Crow came out, unless you were, they've always said that crows are
Depends on what society. Yeah.
right, but they've always, it is believed in Christianity that crows or any types of birds are a symbol of Satan, the devil,
Oh,
according
really?
to Matthew 13:4.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I'm reading that up.
So it's illegal in most states to own a crow. And do you know why? Because crows are smarter than children, and the people teach crows to steal money. That's a fact. That's real. I think it might be.
I'm not a fan of pet birds, but I've wanted a crow for years.
So my
Years.
great grandma lived on a farm when she was a young lady down, I don't know, Texas, Oklahoma, somewhere, Georgia. I'm not sure, but we're talking. My great grandma was born in like 1910, I think, somewhere in that ballpark. She told me she remembered them talking about the Titanic. Yeah. So when she was alive, I got to know her. She was great. But she remembers they were outside one night, her and her little friends and her brothers and sisters, which there were a lot of them because that's all they had to do in the old days is just touch each other, unfortunately, mom and dad. She was out there and she kept hearing somebody talking in the cornfield.
It's a crows.
It was a crow. Somebody,
I've heard
yeah.
rumors that they could talk. I've seen it on TV.
She was like, that scared the crap. Yes, it is illegal to own a crow
Yep.
in the United States because they are protected. Oh, that ain't why.
Well, it says all native wildlife is protected by law in the states.
But you can own a goddamn tiger in Texas? Come on
Or-
now.
What about pet raccoons? People
Yeah.
sell them all the time.
Well, coyotes too. I've seen people sell pet
I got
coyotes.
I got a buddy that's got one, and that little bitch is. She drew blood 2 years ago in fantasy football, and I don't let her live it down.
I want a coyote
She's-
and I want to name her Taco. I think that's a great name for a coyote. You learn. See, you say you come here for
Okay, so
entertainment, but
Yeah,
you learn
it says,
things.
but in Oklahoma that they have rehabbers. How do I become a rehabber? I know people that have owned bobcats.
No, that would not do that. That's terrifying.
Dude, that's a big cat with sharp claws. Mean too. Forget that. Forget that. Forget that. Forget that. I went to high
Well,
school with a girl whose family had 3 rattlesnakes.
Oh yeah, F that too.
Yeah,
So the thing with the crow though, the reason they can talk is now this is what she told me. I have never looked it up. People would get a crow, raise it. They would take a knife and split its tongue, and it could talk. I don't know if that's true. That's just what she told me, and she could hear it saying, "Come here, come here, come here." Imagine that.
I just
You imagine
I-
that. No electricity. You're on a farm. You're out going to the outhouse, and you hear, "Come here, come here."
could you yeah,
Mm.
and you wonder why certain I don't know. I'll say Native Americans. I've heard some stories. This gentleman was a Methodist preacher, and we were sitting literally around a fire at night, no alcohol involved, and scared out of my mind from some of the stories he was telling me. Scared out of my wits.
Tell me a scary
was-
story when I'm surrounded by Navy SEALs, please.
Golly.
Not out in the woods in a tent with a Methodist preacher.
No, we were just outside his house. It was just
Oh.
a fire. We were just sitting outside the house. Oh, heck no. With those stories? No, we'd been like, we're going back to the house. We're driving back to the city. Yeah, no. No.
So, yeah. So, in other words, if you haven't seen The Crow, get on that and
Yes,
watch
please do.
iRobot. I think that's good. It's an
I think it's a good
adaptation.
movie.
What's funny is iRobot is an adaptation from Isaac Asimov. I believe he's a Russian writer. He wrote science fiction, but most of his are short stories. I don't think this is a very big story in his compilation of stories, which is amazing that they extrapolated that out and made a 2-hour movie. I'm not sure. Let's see. Runtime. Where's the runtime? I'm probably looking right at it. Where the hell is it? I thought. Oh, there it is. 1 hour and 55 minutes. That's probably the first time people heard Alan Tudyk. And you want to see something funny is watch interviews with Alan Tudyk and who's the guy from Castle? Nathan Fillion. They're best friends. And Nathan Fillion craps all over Alan Tudyk. He's like, watch Star Wars. Alan has a thing when he's piloting a ship, he has to flip 3 switches. And you watch the robot, he flips 3 switches. You're like, oh, he just broke the code. He said it makes him look so. Yeah. Anyway, you loved it, right? You didn't get to finish. Yeah. You said you didn't finish it yet.
Yeah, I was watching it this morning, and I went to the gym. I didn't get to finish it.
I watched another show. I'm gonna pull that up real quick. It's Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy War on Netflix. Ed Harris narrates it. This documentary, what is it? How many? It's 6 episodes. I think 6. There's 6 episodes. You think, I've seen Tombstone. I know the story, but you don't. According to this, did you know that Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday were arrested for the OK Corral?
I do believe so.
I didn't know that. I also didn't know that Doc was an actual doctor in Georgia before he got tuberculosis.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Educated man. That's why in the movie it shows him and Johnny Ringo speaking. Here's the other thing.
Because he was speaking
Latin.
Latin.
So the leader of the Cowboys was Ike Clanton. It wasn't Wild Bill, Curly Bill.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Nope. Ike Clanton was the leader, and the way they portray him, this dude was a mover and shaker, and he would go to the papers and smear Wyatt and them. He was using the press as a weapon, and just trying to get them hung because he hated Earp. And the whole reason is okay. Going back, so the United States had borrowed money, and I think it was during the Depression. No, the Depression hadn't happened. I'm dumb. 1882. The Civil War. I couldn't remember what it was. So they had borrowed a lot of money to fight the Civil War. So they got to repay this debt. I don't think we had the gold reserves. So Arizona became a thing because of the silver mines. They hit a seam of silver all over that place. And so Tombstone was a silver town. And so the United States was using the silver from Tombstone to pay off their debt, which is something modern politicians have no idea. They just like, that guy's speaking a foreign language. I don't know what that means. Paying off debt? You can't do that. Yeah, obviously. Anyway, so Ike Clanton and his gang robbed a stagecoach carrying, it was like $20,000 in silver, which in today's money is a substantial amount.
Right.
Well, they made a mistake. They killed Wyatt's friend, who was, I think, the stagecoach driver. So he wants to find out. Now, he's a sheriff or lawman. I don't know to extent. I don't remember what he was. But so he goes up, and he knows it's Cowboys. So he goes to Ike, and he makes a deal with Ike. Because John, not Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan was making a deal in England to buy the railroads. He wanted backing. So he puts out basically a $180,000 bounty on the people who robbed the stagecoach because he's trying to show European investors that United States it's a safe place. And they're like, not when we see these news stories, we're not putting our money there. It looks like a bad, like throwing away money. We don't want to do that. So Morgan puts out this bounty. So Wyatt goes to Ike and says to him, hey, tell me where your boys are. I'm going to arrest them. There's a bounty. It was $6,000, $6,000 or $8,000, but in today's money, it's basically $180,000. And Ike is like, I can't be seen to work with you because the Cowboys hung snitches. They literally killed everybody that ever snitched. Even if they thought you snitched, they hung you. So the whole reason him and Wyatt were working together, well, before he can get to him, they get killed. So Ike comes over and it's like, hey, where the hell's my money? He says, I can't help you. I didn't get to bring him in, so I don't know what to tell you. So that pisses Ike off. So he goes to drink it. Well, Doc's in the place where he's drinking, and Doc starts mouthing off. And he's like, everyone can see what you are. You're just a... He goes, I can see inside you. Everyone knows what you're trying to hide, because he's just drunk. Well, that sets Ike off, because now he thinks that Wyatt's going to rat him out. That's what literally started it, was rumor. Was miscommunicate. Could have all been cleared up if they could have put their pride aside and just actually sat down over some whiskey and talked. So, hundreds dead. Tombstone ended up having a higher kill rate than like 60% kill rate. Like, you had a 60% chance of being killed in the streets of Tombstone than anywhere else in the world, which is crazy. Like, holy hell. I didn't know any of that because the only thing I've ever seen is movies, right? Like, and what was her name? Josephine. Josephine was actually Sheriff Behan's girl. They were together. She lived with him, apparently. And they were together. And, of course, she was sneaking out to see Wyatt on the side. Getting her some mustache rides. That was a hell of a mustache, too. But that was fascinating. He lived to work in movies. Wyatt Earp. I didn't know that either. He died in 1929, I believe. Which is crazy to me. I didn't know any of that. None of it. So that was fascinating. So where it differentiated from the movie Tombstone was the love affair, because she comes in on the carriage with the acting troupe. Apparently she was already living in Tombstone with Behan. And then when Wyatt went on his revenge after they killed Morgan, he was an outlaw. He had bounties on his head. And J.P. Morgan and Wells Fargo were paying him. They were paying him because he was killing cowboys, and that was good for business. So he was literally a paid vigilante, which is wild to me. I didn't know that either. Can you imagine? You go crazy, and then, I don't know, McDonald's pays you to kill off people from Burger King? Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, he was getting... So he ends up in this trap by himself. Because you remember in the movie, they're at the river, and Curly Bill and him are fighting. And he comes out of there and going, no, and he doesn't get shot, and he kills. That happened, but it wasn't at a river, and he was alone. And he rode into basically an ambush, and Curly Bill ambushed him, and he killed him. He killed him, and I think maybe one other cowboy. So the movie's right, it's just the locations are different.
Okay.
Well, when Wells Fargo found out about it, they sent him like $1,000. Like, hey, good job. That's effed up. The other thing is the president. Let me see if I can find Chester Arthur. So his predecessor got killed. So Chester Arthur was put in place by J.P. Morgan because J.P. Morgan wanted him in there, so he'd just write a check. Which really doesn't surprise me, because we're in this modern era and we're like, got to get money out of politics. Money and politics are obviously as old as history itself. So J.P. Morgan didn't like Chester Arthur, and he nearly got us into a second civil war with this cowboy war. Because Ike basically was rallying people to his cause, saying the Earps come from up north, and they're coming down here. So I didn't know any of this. But it was the creation, so I don't know. I can't remember if Chester Arthur or his the guy that followed him created the Arizona Rangers. But they came in and they gave him a deadline. They said, we're going to kill. You got until this date to get the hell out of Tombstone, or we're killing all of you. And so that's when Wyatt said, I'm cashing out and I'm done. So he never got Ike Clanton. He took off and went to California with Josephine. They were, I guess, apparently happy. And Ike got killed, I think, in Mexico at the age of 40, either trying to kill somebody or robbing cattle. That was fascinating to me because I hated the American West when I was growing up because it was everywhere. Cowboy Western movies, all the old men, that's all they ever talked about. I didn't like any of it. So now that I'm an adult, allegedly, I'm starting to pick this stuff up and watch it. So I watched that. I finished that yesterday, and so watched Tombstone. And I don't know. There's just Tombstone doesn't hold up as well as I thought because I haven't seen it in years. Val Kilmer's amazing. Val Kilmer, all the cast, the whole cast is amazing. But I think the love scenes kind of bring it down. And then when you know the real history and you're seeing Powers Booth, you're like, he's so good. Why couldn't he be the real guy? But it's a great show. But I think that my biggest problem was probably the love story and how they portrayed Ike Clanton. Now, Ike Clanton was a coward. The OK Corral shooting, I didn't realize that was a huge hot topic for many, many years after. Because they were saying that, of course, Ike came out and basically said they came out and they just killed him in cold blood. I didn't know any of that. It's a great docuseries. It's like a documentary with real actors that replay the events. So if you haven't seen this and you're a little bit interested in history, I highly recommend it. It's really good. So that okay, I'm done. But yeah, it's a fantastic. And then I'd recommend watching Tombstone after you watch this, just to see how faithful they tried to be to it. I mean, it's a movie. It's an artistry creation of a historical event. It's not meant to portray one for one. Like the night that the Cowboys kill all the brothers. That takes place over, like, I think weeks or months.
Oh, so yeah, so was it? But I mean, it was a movie, so that
Exactly. So artist, what do they call that? Artist license.
Right.
But they're both great. It changed how I watched Tombstone though, because like now I just got done watching the actual history of this event. So now I'm like, oh, okay. So now I'm watching. I'm going, yeah, that isn't how it's supposed to happen. But the best part of that movie, for me, the two best scenes of Tombstone is the Johnny Ringo fight between Doc Holliday and what is his name? He was married to Angelina Jolie. Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, Billy Bob Thornton, yeah.
He's there, and Wyatt goes up and just slaps him. Skin that smoke wagon. I'm just like the
And when he runs back up behind him with the shotgun, and
Doc.
Doc,
Yeah,
he's like, what are you gonna do with that?
And he's like, leave the shotgun. Okay, thank you. that was a good. That was good. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. Got The Crow. Oh, I've been playing 3 games.
Yes, like which game?
So I'm still playing Wukong. That game, it's great. I have to take breaks. I can't just keep smashing my head against the boss over and over. So I take breaks. I'll eventually beat it, I hope, maybe in 15, 20 years. But I was going through my library and I found a game I wouldn't normally play, Dragon Quest XI. That game is so much fun because it's like the old Super Nintendo role-playing games I used to play. It doesn't hold your hand. It basically it says, hey, you need to go find this in this region. That's it. Good luck. Hope you can figure it out. I love that. So I have like a little notepad and I take notes because I don't know, makes you think. You're not just spoon-fed like an Ubisoft game. Ubisoft's like dots all over the map. This is just like, might be over here. Go talk to everybody. I don't know. I just absolutely adore this game. I was like, dang it, this is the last one that came out, and I think it came out in 2017. It's phenomenal. I love it. Super anime. Super duper anime. But it's cute. It's good. The other game I've been playing, and I just started that this week, is The Last Descendant. I think I got that pulled up here. Our First Descendant. The First Descendant. Oh God, you gotta enter a date. Okay, well let's see. I was born in 1926. That looks good. That's why age verification is stupid. Nexon is the publisher of this game. Dude, I swear to God, this game is Destiny. From the way you navigate the menus to the way you upgrade some of your stuff, it's just Destiny. Mixed with Warframe. So if you've ever played Warframe, it's got kind of the upgrade system of Warframe. And instead of Warframes, you get Descendants. So all of the Descendants, I think you can grind and go and find them so you can unlock new characters. It's really tight. It's really good, fun gameplay loop. It's like I want to keep playing it, which is, I don't normally play these kind of games. Like I don't play Call of Duties and stuff. I don't play Destiny. But I had a friend of mine who's playing it, Matt, and I said, is it any good? He's like, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. So we played a little bit yesterday. It was really fun. It's got mixed reviews. It does start to get grindy, so they want you to buy all the stuff. I mean, it's a free-to-play game. They got to make money. But this Nexon company, I'm pretty sure this Nexon company has some, let's see, bad publicity. Bad Nexon. Why is Nexon hated? Let's look at Reddit, because Reddit never lies. Shutting down a lot of games. They got sued for like $1 billion because they were basically rigging a system in MapleStory that nobody could get the item. So you just kept pouring money into the system, and it was like, they made billions of dollars on that from, I think, MapleStory. And so people came in and, of course, review bombed it because they don't have any. Oh, that's what I wanted. Nexon scandal. Where is it? Here we go. Nexon fined $9 million in MapleStory gotcha scandal. This is from Insider Gaming. Korea Fair Trade Commission, and the largest of its kind. It has been claimed that Nexon deliberately and knowingly altered the probability structure of cubes, which is the items, basically loot boxes. So you couldn't get it. So the players just kept pouring money in because it would look like they're going to get it. They're like, it's got to come sooner or later. And so people were spending $10, $15, $20, $30,000 on this game. They made billions on that damn game. And then to find out your odds of winning were like winning McDonald's Monopoly. 0.
Yeah. Was it really 0? I thought people actually won that McDonald's Monopoly crap.
No, because the guy, I watched a documentary on that a while back. It was mobbed. He was working with the mob, and he was in charge of printing the tickets. So he would give, all of it was won out of this particular area in the Northeast. I don't know. Somebody else may have won somewhere, but yeah, him and all of his cohorts were working together to win this thing because he printed the tickets. It's such a crock. I was like, so nobody could win that? Like, literally, no, because they would print like 99% of the tickets, but the other ones were printed in a different area in a special place. So it wasn't random. And they were supposed to hand deliver them with like a briefcase with a handcuff on it. Like, that's how important it was to McDonald's.
Yeah, because I can remember always wanting to play it.
I'm going to look.
And be like, never winning, always wanting to get Boardwalk and the other one, and you never ever saw it. Saw 15 million Boardwalks and never the other one to win the million or whatever it was. Always wants the damn French fries, though.
Let's see.
I love McDonald's French fries, but how many French fries can I eat? Dang.
I won $500,000. So somebody did win some money. Okay. Used to go, I won $5. That's close enough. You were basically a millionaire. You didn't know it. Has anyone ever won? Yes, someone has. There's actually a number of $1 million. Okay, so I guess that I would that
Was
knocked
too
it down.
young to redeem. My uncle stole the pieces.
Well, I mean, dude, if I'm too young, give it to somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Don't just eat that. But anyway, Last Descendant, Wukong Trek. Okay,
Yeah, that Last Descendant looks good.
our First Descendant. I keep calling
First
it
Descendant,
Last.
Descendant. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Descendant.
It is a beautiful game, but even the hub city is basically Destiny. I keep calling it the Citadel.
I I don't know yet. I started watching. You had it on there. What is the show about the Lord of the Rings?
The Riders of Rohan, or
No, that's not out yet. The actual on Amazon. That
oh,
actually
Rings
looks
of
good.
Power, Rings of Power.
The First Descendant. That actually looks good. And you said that's free to play, right?
Absolutely free. I refuse to give them money. Yeah. This game is completely. I'm going back to it. Completely and utterly free to play.
Xbox or just PlayStation?
No, it's on PC, Xbox,
Oh, PC.
PlayStation.
Okay.
It's on all of them, and it's cross-platform. So my friend Matt was playing on Xbox. I was playing on PlayStation.
Yeah, so I'm 2 episodes into the new season of Rings of Power.
Well, what do you think?
I don't know yet. I know you said that you had heard that she was in a relationship with Sauron.
Yes.
Well, she got played by Sauron.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't. Now that I am watching it again, I'm kind of remembering some of it from the first season. And they actually kind of give you a little bit of backstory of how he manipulates the mind. I know you didn't like it. It's not bad. They actually kind of toned her down, but it's only 2 episodes in it, so I haven't got to see. They're not making her as badass as she was before. So it's just the 2 episodes. So I don't know yet. We'll see. I'm like I said, almost 2 full episodes into it. So yeah, I'm not for sure yet. It's kind of out there. It's a little different. This season's all about the rings.
Okay.
It's a lot more about the Rings of Power because they even talk about it in the older movies and in the books. There was 3 rings for the elves, 9 rings for man, and that is how Sauron was to take over.
Okay.
Because the 9 rings of men is where you get the 9 ring wraiths.
Oh yeah.
Because there was 9 ring wraiths. Because like in the first book, where the wraiths were chasing them and they couldn't find the others because they were still looking for Frodo, and there was 9 of them, and he's made one of the elves is making the rings, so the elves have got their 3 rings, and now he's changing forms, and it's just different. He's changing forms to get the 9 rings for the men, and
So
yeah.
did he? So he created the ring? Because I don't know.
Yes, Sauron creates the rings, but he's using an elf to do it.
So is it? He's doing it to control the people? Is that
Yes,
what?
to control. Yes.
Okay. See, I'm not real big on the Lord of the Rings stuff. So I mean, I enjoy it, but I'm not
Right.
huge.
I mean, like I said, it's the only books I've read besides listening to the Harry Potter books on tape and watching it and remembering, because I read those when I was a teenager, junior high. So that's a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I did try to watch it. I got bored. No shade on it. I just kind of got bored watching. I was just like, I didn't like the main character. What's her name?
Galadriel.
Yeah, Galadriel. I didn't like her. She rubbed me the wrong way. She just seemed like and you pointed out, well, technically that's lore accurate because the elves are kind of a-holes anyway. And I was like, you're right. But when she's carrying it, she's no Frodo. She's no Bilbo. They were very likable. I didn't like her, so I just kind of tuned out. I watched maybe an episode, half an episode, and it's just like it's not for me.
And see, and I think that they're even bringing in. So you get to see, I believe, in this last episode, you get to see Saruman, and I think Gandalf is coming into it
Okay.
because I think that's who it is because you don't know because he can't remember his
I
name.
don't think they have the rights to Gandalf though, so it'll probably be somebody Gandalf adjacent because I don't think this company gets the rights to Gandalf because they got
Yeah.
they don't own.
How do you have the rights to everybody else, but you can't use Gandalf's name?
Well, they can't use certain characters because they weren't mentioned in the Silmarillion, I think. So they got the very first, I think, books of the Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion. They got the rights to that, but they don't
maybe
have
it's
the
not
rights. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why some of this stuff is kind of contentious because there's not.
Okay.
I tried to read that, and it's just a bunch of made up gobbledygook that I could not understand. It was way above my pay grade.
I never even thought about it once I even learned that it was there.
Yeah, it's a hard book to read because I was like, oh,
Well,
that's a small book.
The Lord of the Rings is a hard book to read. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why in the back of it there's a. I actually have a book that has somewhere in this room that has all the translations for the like definitions for it. It's thicker than the Hobbit of definitions of things that he talks about.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's like, oh yeah.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
research to read a story that's supposed to be
No,
fun.
no. My mom thought I needed to have it, and I was like, okay, I got it.
It looks good on the coffee table. Look
Just
how
like right now, I'm sitting
intelligent.
here looking at an illustrated edition of the fantasy classic with 6 new pages of artwork. I mean, sitting right here on my desk. My mom.
Oh, that's cool.
It's almost like a comic book. It basically is a comic book.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. With fantasy and television, they almost never do it to the point where it looks good. Lord of the Rings was probably the first fantasy show that I watched that sucked me in. Because when you read the books, you create all the images in your head, and then when you
Oh,
see it
yeah.
translated, it's like,
And I think Peter Jackson did an amazing job.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. There's good
Amazing job.
fantasy movies. I mean, we've got tons of great fantasy movies, but
Right.
when it comes to television, well, I can't remember his
Well,
name.
my problem is like we've said before, they try to put too much extra into it instead of what's already there because they're trying to get 12 episodes when you really only need 9. They're trying to get paid for 12. What they signed a contract for 12, so they gotta add some fluff to it to get you extra episodes. And I
Yeah,
don't
well,
think you need to because that's like I'm very worried because they're supposed to do that with Harry Potter, and it's supposed to go to HBO. It's supposed to be like a season for each book, and I'm like, oh, how bad are they gonna screw this up?
Yeah, I mean, so, well, I don't remember where I heard this, but I think the guy is actively involved in Hollywood. And he said the problem is you've got movie directors making TV shows. And so what they're doing is they're filming these TV shows as a movie. And then they just cut it up and put it out as episodic. That makes so much sense to me when you start to watch some of these shows and you have this like 2-hour arc that's just boring as hell. Nothing gets done. Nothing moves forward. I mean, it's like that. Geez, my mind does not work in the morning. That new sci-fi epic that came out on Netflix that we quit watching.
Yeah, did I never even watch the second episode?
Yeah, I don't
The
even
Star
remember.
Wars one.
Yes, yes. So imagine if they made that episodic. Dude, 90% of that would be unwatchable. It would get a 2.1 on IMDb because it's boring.
I think it was pretty boring already.
Yeah, but imagine if you cut it up and made 8 episodes out of it. Oh my god, that'd be I'd rather go to the dentist and have him unzip my pants.
Work on this, Doc.
Yeah. So the other show that I I got this up on right now, Sword of Truth,
Right, I see
Terry
that.
Terry Goodkind. It's one of my
That
favorite book series. They made a television show. Now I read all of the books, and there's some S&M stuff in this. There's some dark stuff in this, Um, but they made it into a TV show. It lasted one season, I think.
I don't even.
It
I
was
think we talked about
horrible.
it.
It was horrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like nobody looked like what you expected. Like the main character's supposed to be this woodsman. He's big and lean and large, and the guy they got's tiny and skinny. Yeah, that's the main character. Go back. Dang it. Yeah, he was like tiny. I mean, it makes that Wheel of Time series. So yeah, the guy's supposed to be like 6 foot tall and buff and big, and this dude just looks like a guy's door greeting at Walmart.
Oh, kind of like they did Jack Reacher.
Yeah, yeah. Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher. It's the same thing. It's like, huh? Because once you see the TV show Reacher, and then you go back, because I did that, and you go back and watch the Tom Cruise movies, you're like, yeah, you're about 8 feet short.
And the sad thing is I enjoyed those movies.
They were really good.
They were really good. And then, which of course, you know, they always do very good with Tom Cruise to make him look bigger than he actually is, because he is. And is he on little person status? I'm not for sure.
He's tall for a midget. He's a tall midget.
You cannot say the M word. You get me in trouble. See, now we're getting in trouble.
What?
Already.
Why can't you say?
You have to say little people. God, I can't call them gypsies. You can't call them midgets.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't see it. I was gonna
The
look.
Legend of the Seeker. That was an actual. That's.
So it was on for 2 years. So it's got 44 episodes. Apparently, it did
It's
way
got pretty
better.
people.
Yeah, it was.
And I will say this about The Crow, and I was talking about that this morning. Brandon Lee is really, besides his wife that passed away, and you don't get to see her except for in flashbacks.
Yeah, she was beautiful.
She was beautiful. All the rest of the people in that show are not pretty people.
Oh no, they're ugly. They're absolutely.
Did you see what the name of the town was?
I didn't know.
Inner City or something like that. I believe that was the name of the police cars. Inner City.
Oh.
They were like, we're not going to be in trouble for calling this Detroit or Gotham City. Inner City, I do believe was the name of it.
Now, was The Crow? I know we're going backwards, but wasn't The Crow? Was it a comic book?
I do believe so.
Okay. Or graphic novel. I don't know the difference, but yeah. Back to Lord of the Rings. You have to just let us know what you think. I don't want to watch it, and it has no political. I just didn't enjoy it. I don't like a lot of the stuff that. A lot of stuff coming out now. It's just not made for me, and that's okay. Like, make it. You'll find your audience. It's not for me.
It's like I saw. Who's the girl from Wednesday?
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega. So they asked Jenna Ortega if she would want to play somebody that's already out, and I have to look it up. But I saw it this morning. I told myself to remember what it was. But she said she didn't want to do a remake of a bunch of stuff. That she basically wanted to actually play, new movies, stuff that's actually written for her. Which I can understand that, because they want to tear up. Very rarely do we get anything that's remade that's good. I mean, it's like we're so worried about this new Superman, even though the trailers look good and what we've seen about it. But in our lifetime, you and I have seen so many different Supermen.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Christopher Reeves. Then you had the Smallville.
Yeah, Smallville.
Then you had Superman and Lois Lane.
Yes, that was the TV show.
Dean Cain, right?
Yeah, and I actually liked that show.
I never watched.
It wasn't the best. I didn't watch like religiously watch it like I did Smallville. Mm-hmm. And which Smallville was great because it was like supposedly it was something that they hadn't done before, like his youth through his high school age.
Okay.
You watched Smallville, right? You didn't watch Smallville?
No.
But I will say it's like Sheldon Cooper. Is we watched Smallville I think it was 16 seasons, and then he flies on the last episode. He's like, come on now, everybody in the world knows Superman can fly, and you make us wait till the last episode before he can fly?
It wasn't in the budget.
Goodness, literally. And I was like, you hit that right on the head because I was like, he can fly. Like, why can't he fly?
Yeah. We're going to push that over because we burned the budget on that one special effect. I saw episode because that show was extremely popular
It was
with
very
our
popular.
age group, especially
Yeah.
our age group, and my ex-wife would watch it religiously. So I would catch episodes and snippets. So I'm familiar with some of the actors because I've
Yes.
seen them in other stuff. Like one of the main actors that played Lex Luthor, I think, he has
Yeah.
his own podcast. It's a pretty good podcast. He's
Which was funny because they took him out towards the end.
oh really?
Yes. Yep, and then brought him back at the end because they were getting such bad, bad reviews without him in there, and they were like using like a flashback or just talking about him, and he wasn't there because supposedly he died. And we're not breaking anything out. If y'all haven't
What do you
seen
mean?
I
It came out in 2001. You're ruining it, and it goes to 2017.
like I said,
Holy!
16 seasons. Yeah.
217 episodes.
Yeah. And
That's how long are the
And you can
episodes? Are they an hour?
I think they're only like 40 minutes. No commercials, so they're only like 40 minutes.
Oh my God, that's 217 hours you're never getting back.
Yeah, and the sad thing is you can only see seasons 1 through 10 on Hulu. So I don't know where you see the last 6 seasons at unless you buy it on Amazon Prime.
Kristen Kurek, I knew her. Michael Rosenbaum. It's called Inside Michael Rosenbaum. That is a great podcast. He interviews Hollywood people, and it's like he's interviewing friends. He interviewed the actor who played Gimli. I absolutely love that episode. It's fantastic. John Schneider was in this show. John Glover. Holy crap! This has got some people I actually know.
And everybody should know Allison Mack because she was the one that was.
I don't
Was it
remember
she?
her.
No, yeah, Allison Mack. She was the one that did the. Was she blackmailing or selling children? to
Oh, the
colleges?
sex ring. Oh,
The
let's.
sex ring. Yes, that's her.
Oh,
It's her. And I'm going to tell you right now, in Smallville, I was always mad because I thought Clark Kent should be dating Allison Mack because I thought she's in Smallville. I thought she was better looking than Kristen Krug. I don't know what it was. She just had that cute, girl next door type vibe.
Yeah,
But now, oh no, she no.
I want to see if somebody.
He picked the right one.
No, yeah, they don't. Nobody's put anything about her stuff. Let me see if I can find it. Allison.
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah, she had the sex ring for the colleges and stuff like that. Yep. That was a big deal when it got busted, but I don't remember anything about it afterwards.
Released from prison after 2 years.
Oh, she only did 2 years. That's not too
Uh-huh.
bad.
In what? After serving 2 years in NXIVM cult case. So she was in a
Yes.
cult.
Yeah, they called it a cult, but it was a sex ring. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was a big deal.
she probably found new clients in prison. That's
Yes.
not a good place to put her.
Yes.
To racketeering and conspiracy charges, which I mean, I don't know. That
It had to do with getting kids into college. She was using that to get their kids into college.
I'm thinking of somebody. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Federal judge, so she went fed time. So that's just cool. That means you and I paid for her
Of course.
cable TV that she got to watch.
Now, those of you that don't know, that are younger and may watch this, John Snyder was Dukes of Hazzard back in the day. Do you remember that?
Okay. Yeah.
Most people don't remember him, but I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
never
he was the
doing
dad.
no harm.
Yeah, he was the dad.
No, it was John and Luke Duke. He was Luke. 'cause
No, but I
Luke-
mean in Smallville.
Oh,
he was,
okay.
He was
Oh.
the dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Terrence Stamp. He's in that show. Jensen Ackles is in that show. Smallville.
It's got a great cast. I actually enjoyed it. I looked for it to stream for a long time and finally came out and streamed and I got to watch it all. And like literally it was like a month after I finally finished it that it went away.
But you're right about, like, we're worried about them screwing it up. But I mean, I think the guy that's helming DC right now is probably. I think he loves the material, so he's gonna be. I think, faithful to it. I hope. So.
Well, I mean, he's got. He has to be faithful because Marvel's sure not being faithful. You're letting them do what they're doing to the Joker, and
You mean
I would,
DC? Well, yeah, DC. Yeah, they. Oh my God, have you seen the emo Joker for? He's like a teenage Joker in Suicide Squad. Oh, dude,
is it new Suicide Squad already?
the new Suicide Squad game.
Oh no, gosh, no! I refuse. I refuse.
You know what?
You're
I
gonna
don't
show
know.
me here in a second.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I mean, it looks like the Joker, but when you listen to his dialogue, I've only heard snippets of it.
But it's I mean, there is lore for a reason. There's you have the background. I can understand you can change up Harley Quinn and this and that, but Harley Quinn was his. I'm gonna stick by this to the day I die. She was his psychiatrist.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that.
there is. Dang it, there is there's a version of the Joker that's also the Batman in comics. He's like, it's really dark because I was watching Endymion talking about I think it was him. It was somebody talking about what characters they could have added to Justice League game, and that one I was like, oh, that would have been cool. He's like a super smart supervillain.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully. Well, they've already decided to kill that game, so that and that was
way.
yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think James Gunn came along right around the Flash. So what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that game was in development for a long time. So he couldn't have probably had any kind of say in what that was. And you develop something for that long, you pay that kind of money for it. You're going to release it and try to make some of your money back. They thought it was going to go over because it's funny. I listen to all these games and all this stuff. They're creating content for a modern audience. You always hear that we're reinventing this for a modern audience, and then it fails. And I was like, why do this audience doesn't exist? I mean, you're putting it out like used to. You made it for a wide audience, or you focused it for your specific audience. You knew who they were and you made it for them. But this imaginary modern audience doesn't seem to exist. And somebody made a point. They said, well, what they're doing is they're going on focus groups on Twitter and places on social media, but those aren't real people. They're not. They don't act that way out in real life. So you're in this little echo chamber, and you think that's what everybody wants. Then you listen to it because you're trying to maximize your profits, and then you release it, and it bombs, and you keep doing it until your company goes bankrupt. I'm like, sounds about right. How did we get on this? You said Superman.
Yeah. All right.
So how many Supermans we've had? So we had Christopher Reeves, that Smallville, Kane. Then you had that Ralph guy in the 90s, the Superman Reborn.
He did one movie, right?
Yeah.
And that's the one where he had the kid with Lois
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Superman Brandon Routh, which I actually enjoyed the movie. It had Kevin Spacey playing
Lex Luthor. That movie was okay. It got a 6.1 on IMDb, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. That just means
yeah, right.
some fans are they're going to hate it no matter what. I mean, dude, we see it in the industry that we work in. If they make a change, they could go, we're changing the color of shirts. You're going to get half the people go middle fingers in the air. I'm not wearing it. It's like, it's just a shirt. Relax. It's not your company. You don't own it. Do what they tell you. I know him because he was in Chuck. And you want to talk about bad shows that you and I love? I loved the show Chuck. That is one of my favorite shows. Zachary Levi, that's a great show. And the little hot blonde that he works with. That's such a good show. They're going after Spectre, I think. I don't remember who it is. But yeah, that was a great show. I don't think I've ever seen this. I think I started to watch it, but I don't think I ever finished it.
Oh, that one?
The Superman Returns. Like, where did he go to have to return? Returns to Earth after spending 5 years in space. Maybe if I learned to read, that would help. Examining his homeworld Krypton. I thought Krypton died. Oh, whoa, Kevin Spacey's bald. Oh,
Yes, 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 yes.
I might have to.
I actually enjoyed that
Oh, it's
movie.
on Max.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, goody, it's noon. So you guys are about to hear what we hear in Oklahoma. The alarm. Our tornado alarms go off at noon. I don't know. Do they do that everywhere? Or just here?
I don't know. I guess I just don't call. It's just to make sure the tornado sirens work.
Yeah, so every Saturday at noon, all of our emergency sirens sound. That's, now that I say it, that's kind of weird, dude. I had one behind my house. I have to post that, send that video so you can put it up on Instagram. It is the creepiest thing. It's middle of night, and our siren sounds like something from Silent Hill. It's sick. It's a sick alarm. Anyway, what else you got?
Well, this is a little, it's kind of hard to talk about. We had the tragedy in Georgia.
You were just telling me about that.
Yes, the Appalachian the incident that happened at Appalachian High School. There's a lot still going on about this. I know we have to be very careful on how we touch on this, but it was a tragedy. Because we really can't, right? There's different ways that we can talk about this. We can't really say certain things, right?
Yes.
But there was 9 people. 4 people were I can say killed. 4 people were killed.
Mm.
Can I say that?
You did, so we're good.
Yeah, it's a little late now.
Always ask for what is it? Don't never ask for permission.
Ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a tragedy, and we just want to let everybody know. It's kind of hard to talk about because we can't really. It's very political, and cowardice.
That's what it is.
We don't understand why. You and I both agree that it's a mental illness. I never understood why these things occur at schools. I think if you want to make a point, go to a police department and try this. Go on base. See how that works out for you.
There was an attack on a base not too long ago.
Usually, I hadn't seen that one. Usually those don't go too far because usually people don't go to places where what they're trying to do can happen right back at them.
Yeah. No, it's an attack of fear. Apparently, he targeted specific people. From what I saw, he was actually targeting a set group of people. I don't know if they bullied him. I think one of them was a special needs kid. Now, did you say that he was transgender, or did the news story? Because
I read somewhere that somebody was saying that all of the last few of these that have occurred were like that, but I'm not. It's all rumor reveal. I mean, just because a young man has long hair does not make him transgender to me.
Oh, then I would have been a beautiful lady in high school because I had
hair.
Well,
I understand that.
Now, you were telling me, because I don't want to pull up any more of these stories for the YouTube, but you were telling me that the FBI, the FBI had come to visit this family, a year ago?
A year ago.
Now, yes. Why did they?
Because he was posting stuff on the internet about wanting to do this, to hurt people. So, there are certain words when you type in certain things on your browser that
Wow. So
it clicks in.
So they go and visit this kid, and they just, because I think if we have to spend time to go and visit, that's worthy of taking you and making you go somewhere for a while to analyze and make sure that you're okay. I mean, because now look, we're going to pay for him regardless, because these people, every time they do this and they let them go, they end up doing, not everybody, obviously, but it seems like if they did that, just like, okay, well, you have to go see a psychiatrist or psychologist or therapist, court mandated, or write a ticket saying, if you don't do this, then we're going to take matters up a level.
Definitely.
Especially young kids, especially the
Yes.
young ones, because we don't know his family life. We don't know, bullying and everything else. But where the story gets crazy is what you told me. So the FBI visit, and then what happens? His dad buys him an AR rifle.
Buys him an AR for Christmas, and supposedly this was the AR that he used in this atrocity.
Because that's what
And,
I'm going to do. Kaz tells me he's going to go do something horrible. I'm like, you need some bullets? No.
Yeah.
So they've charged his dad, right?
The dad got charged with everything that happened to him. I believe his father got charged with 4 counts of
Charged him with involuntary manslaughter,
Yep.
second-degree murder, and cruelty to children, saying he
Yes.
knowingly allowed his son to possess a gun. Now, his kid is how
And
old? 14?
14, and this is the first time that this has happened. Now, that I know of, that the parents are actually being held accountable, because you and I talked about that with
The guy up in Wisconsin?
the guy up in Wisconsin that was up there with the gun. His mom dropped him off.
Yeah.
beforehand.
He
We
should,
were like,
yep.
yes,
His mom should have been charged. His dad should have been charged, because he should have never been put in a position to have to shoot those guys. That's negligent parents, even though, he was 16 at the time?
I believe so.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, I agree with this. Like, you bought your kid after the FBI came to your house, and you thought, you know what, Junior needs a gun.
Right.
And he's
I
14, which is illegal to own a long gun in every state in the union, basically.
Yeah, because I believe even though you buy that, your son goes through all the, say, if he's going to use it for quote unquote hunting, that I still believe that is yours.
Yeah, it's your gun.
He uses it, and
Because when you buy it, well, if you go and buy one, let's say you got a grandson, and you're going to go buy him a gun, it has to be in your name, because you have to do the background check. You can't put little Kaz on there, Grandpa's little helper. You can't put his name on there, because they won't allow that, because he's underage, because you have to show ID. And at 14, you don't have ID, so Dad had to buy the gun. So it is Dad's gun that he used, so that means his dad was negligent in not securing the gun, whether he bought it for the kid or not. I agree with this. Gun owners should keep their guns safe. Wow. So this was what? Wednesday? Okay, here it is. At the school on Wednesday. Okay.
Yes, so he's already been arraigned. It's just terrible.
I like how they always say, it's an AR style rifle. It's an AR rifle. Well, I guess it is AR. There are different kinds. Because you know what AR stands for?
People that
Armalite.
Yeah, Armalite.
I believe.
Yes.
It's just the name brand. This is horrible. And what's crazy, if you're not from the United States, this probably is like, these stories, you just see them all the time in American schools. It's a mental disorder. And
I believe so.
it's perfect, because I grew up with kids, like I grew up in Colorado, and kids would drive their pickups, and they would have rifles hanging in the back window of their pickup. Every kid that lived outside of it had a rifle or shotgun. When I moved to Oklahoma,
Oh
it's
yeah.
the same thing. Like, that was a common practice in your pickup to have a gun rack on the back window. And nobody got shot. Everybody had, like, not everybody, but a lot of young men had guns. Nobody got shot. Why is it now that this is happening? Because this is a modern thing. Columbine and all that, it's 90s, but it's a
Right.
very modern thing. It didn't used to happen. So why is it happening? It's not the gun's fault.
I in my opinion, I think even the younger, I think everybody is too coddled. I mean,
Oh, you see that with I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, you
it's
see
definitely too coddled. I just don't understand why. You know, we'll never know the whole story.
And they
We
say,
don't.
well, they
He
say
said that-
bullying, and I'm like, bitch, I got bullied. Guess what? I learned how to fight. I didn't bring a gun to school. We always had guns.
Right. Yeah.
Made friends with bigger kids and stopped the bullying. That's usually how that went. I became funny. I think it's a very complex problem. I think it's a very complex problem. I think it harkens back to lack of identity for a lot of these kids. And I know it's like, oh, you shouldn't be, but it's like somebody needs to be talking about it. There's a lack of identity, a lack of fathers in the home, like real fathers. Like this kid had a dad, but he wasn't a father. He wasn't guiding his son, probably spending time with him. Of course, we don't know, like you said. There's a lot of
we don't
unknown
know.
factors.
And
A lot of
people
parents,
do-
well, a lot of these parents too, they're parent in name only. Like you and I are dads. There's a difference between, like a parent and an actual dad. Like I know my kids, you know your kids. Like I spend time with my kids. My kid's having a bad day. I know he's having a bad day. When he was at school, we talked about stuff. Like I was active with my kids. I mean, my daughter just had a idiocy lapse the other day, and I was talking with her and her boyfriend, trying to help them work through it. So like I'm an active participant in my kids, but I think a lot of parents, and you mentioned this from when you were a kid, dad goes to work, dad comes home, dad sits on couch. Rinse and
Yes,
repeat.
definitely.
Rinse and repeat. I saw that my whole life too. It's like, and they're only there to yell at you and tell you shut up and go to your room, go outside.
Right. And I don't think parents really want their kids to talk to them. They want to throw them in front of the TV.
They treat them like
You know,
pets.
Yeah, they got a phone. They don't want to learn what their kid's going through. Like, Billy Bob called me fat today. Well, you know what? Quit eating the cookies.
Right.
Or why did he call you fat? What did you do?
You
why?
offer solutions as a parent. You say,
Yeah.
well, you know what? Why don't we start going out for a walk? Let's cut the sugar. Like I had that talk with my son. He's like, I'd like to get healthier. It's like, cool, let's do it together. Right? Like that's a simple, but I think a lot of parents aren't doing that. I think you're right. A lot of the parents are just like, oh yeah, back to what I'm doing. Would you say? Like they're absent. They're just not there. And I think my daughter talks about this a lot. Humans, I think, suffer from generational curses. And what I mean about that is like, if you were neglected and abused, the chances of you having kids, neglecting and abusing them because you were taught this is part of your, and it goes on until, somebody finally decides to try to break it. My family has generational curses for sure.
I mean, we all have problems.
Yeah.
It just, I think I did watch a guy talk about it, and he was saying that it has to do with the food we eat. Because, like you said, I mean, think of this. Like you said, we always saw people with gun racks when we were younger. High school, I remember people going out and a group of Martians and a group of Venus people, they were mad at each other. Well, 10 or 12 of them of each side would, all right, we're going to meet at the park. They'd go in and get in a fight, and the next day everybody would be at school. They would stay away from each other. They wouldn't run their mouth. 5 or 6 people on each side had black eyes, bloody noses, had the stitches. Problem was solved. Whoever won the fight, it was over. I'm not saying fighting is a good thing. But if that could solve the problem, if you can go out, I mean, just like Texas. Texas has a law that if you come up to me,
Oh yeah.
and
What is it called?
and challenge-
The right to combat, right to combat.
Yeah,
law.
it's combat. Yeah, it's mutual combat. I
That's
believe is
it.
what it's
Mutual
called.
combat.
Mutual
That's
combat. And the police, I believe that you call the police to say I've challenged somebody to mutual combat. He said yes. You called my wife fat. She's not fat. She's 360, but I don't think she's fat. We're gonna fight about it in the street. The police come out. The fight's over. Whatever happens, if you broke his, however the rules are, you can't break a leg or whatever. When the fight's over with, it's done and over, and it's over with. I'm not saying it's right, but that could solve a lot of problems.
Oh
And
yeah.
everybody's definition of bullying is different. Me, I think if you call me fat, I've eaten a couple too many donuts this week. I'll be like, okay, yeah, okay. So say
It's like
I
Vinny
need
told
not to-
me one time. He goes, "You're turning into a fat bastard." So then I pushed him down and shoved dirt in his mouth because he's little. No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. What people feel that way.
it's very sad, and we feel for the families of the people, of the young people, the adults and everything. We feel for them. We feel for the young man that's in this and the dad. We wish it could be changed.
Texas is one of only 2 states that allow individuals to engage in a physical altercation in the fight. Washington both have laws. Texas and Washington.
And that's funny because we usually mimic everything Texas does, and we haven't done that one yet.
No. Yeah. I think so. There was a study done by one of the major universities, and this is fascinating. When you give Democrat men testosterone and get them in the gym, they turn Republican. I'm not even making this up.
That was an actual doctor that
Yes.
did that study. Yes, he's got a PhD.
Yeah, it was a study, and it's like, huh? Because they do say that we eat far too much estrogen-causing foods in the United States. Now, whether that's true, I'm no nutritionalist. I don't know. But
I got razzed yesterday because I went to Subway. I haven't been to. I couldn't tell you the last time I'd eaten a Subway sandwich. And a buddy of mine is like, did he say Ireland? I want to say he said Ireland. Ireland won't even let Subway into the country because of the stuff that's in some of their food, their bread and stuff like that.
I saw a breakdown by a nutritionalist though, and he was like, but they act like European food so much better. They got the same shit. They just changed the wording on it. So like red dye, that red dye 42 or whatever it is, red dye
Red
number
food
7.
coloring,
Yeah, it's allowed over there. It's just got a different name. It's all the same shit.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny because they do talk about it because in some of the things that we watch, like on YouTube, is the English people eating some of the things they eat, and they're like, "Oh, this is so good."
I'm like, you like dead rat? Ugh. I mean, it goes with donkey teeth, so it's obvious.
I watched a couple English gentlemen eating barbecue in America for the first time, and
Oh yeah, I've seen those
they
guys.
were like, it's orgasmic. And they were like, "This is the next best thing to sex I've ever had in my life." I was like, "What kind of sex have you been having?" Because you put food things. I'm just wondering. I mean, I've had some good food.
So that's one thing that I think makes America kind of different because we bring all these people over throughout our history. It's like, we don't care, just come over. You're going to have to fight your fight. We're not fighting it for you, and then you get, they bring their national cuisine. They open a restaurant. Now you get spaghetti.
Right.
The Irish people brought sadness. So everybody
They
lives.
brought beer. They brought Guinness.
Well,
I don't
whiskey,
I don't know, but
Irish whiskey.
I will go with whiskey before I go with Guinness.
But I mean, my friends from New Zealand came to visit, I don't know, 10 years ago. They were like, I've never had food taste so good in all of my life. I was like, yeah, because this is where real people live. It's not where the hobbits grow. No.
But what's funny about that is the spices in India are supposedly some of the best spices in the world, and those spices have been traded for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
How do y'all know what spices are?
Yeah, don't
Are
use any of them.
It's like like fish and chips in England. Supposedly there's nothing better than.
You mean
the
Long
way-
John Silver's?
Oh gosh, Long John Silver's is the best way to have a cleanse
Yeah.
that you can ever have in your life.
Yes.
But you get the little crunchies that come along with the Long John Silver's. You ask for that extra crunchies, the batter. Oh, so good.
They would. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't till I moved to Oklahoma, and I had all my friends. All of us were poor, and my friend would drive through the drive-through at Long John Silver's in the town I lived, and he would order Krispies and a glass of water and eat that for free. And he would do yes, he would do this. And I'm like, do you not feel
I
guilty?
would have bought, because back then it was probably $3 for
Yeah.
a 2-piece of fries. I would have bought him some fries and some chips
No,
and fish.
I didn't know he was going to do it. So I'm sitting passenger seat. And he goes, "You want anything?" I was like, "No." He's like, "I need an order of Krispies and water." And they're like, "Okay, pull up to the window." You could tell they were super jazzed.
Oh, they were like, "This is the winner right here."
It comes in a little tray that you would normally put French fries in. It's just packed full of batter and a glass of water. It was free. He's like, "Oh, this is." I'm just like, "Oh, dude, you've reached a new low in my book." But
Oh, that is terrible.
yeah, I don't know, man. This world's crazy. I mean, and it could be tied to. But I think a lot of this violence is too many people, too packed, not enough people giving a crap about these kids. Like, you can't, in modern day cities, it's impossible to care about everybody. There's not enough of you to do that. So some kids are going to get left behind, right? They're not going to get the attention they need. And because you have kids, different kids require different levels of attention. I have 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
One of my daughters, she's feral. I don't have to do anything with her. I just have to spray her with the hose when she comes up to the house. The other one I have to talk to at least weekly.
That might be the best way you've ever described your children as
Yeah.
feral. That's a new one. You have not gone that way. I've heard that you wanted to abort them a couple times.
Yes.
Maybe 100.
Yeah.
But feral?
Yeah. She's
Does that, wait a minute. So in certain countries, I know if you look it up, in Jamaica, they have lots of feral cats.
yes.
And they take them and they have them fixed, and they get a mark on them somehow. They tat them or something so they know which ones. So my next question is have you done that to your daughter?
No, because I'm hoping out of her lineage comes a bunch of warrior babies. Because I used to say this, so I have a son too, and when we would go out, now my oldest daughter is
Your poor son, by the way.
Yeah, Gollum. Yeah, he's
he's been threatened to be aborted more.
Oh God,
That
yeah.
poor boy's like
So
glad it's
my
not
oldest,
legal in Oklahoma.
my oldest is a tall little person. She's very small. She probably weighs 113 pounds. She's tiny. She's the one that wants to be a Marine. She went into the Marines, broke her ankle, got washed out, but she's mean as shit. And I would always introduce them, and I would go, "This is my oldest daughter. She's the son I always wanted." And my son is over there like, "Hey, what the heck?" It's like, "Shut up, Susie. Nobody's talking to you. Go make a cake or something." Like, but yeah, you got to treat each kid differently. You just have to. And
You wonder why your whiskey bottles taste like water. your son is he's
My
professional.
no.
Dad,
my son is a teetotaler. He's a complete teetotaler. He wants nothing to do with any of that. Like, he criticizes when I drink. Really? You're going to drink that? Yeah, I'm going to drink the whole damn thing, too. You want to watch? No.
But that's a good thing.
It is, to a certain
That's a good
extent.
thing. I mean, I've got friends that have I've talked to them. It's been a long time, but they're like, my son's 21 and is a virgin. Is that a bad thing? I was like, no, really, it's not. It's a good thing.
Yeah. To a certain extent, but then you get into that creepy incel OnlyFan guy. You know, if he's doing that crap, it's time to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm about to show you a whole new world. This is Candy, and she's going to spend some time with you. Now, I paid extra. You get me?
Yeah.
That's horrible. I apologize to no one.
So, there's a couple of things I want to recommend. So, for you people ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've seen it. I'm going to recommend it to you. The only place you can watch it right now is on Prime Video. It's $3.99.
Okay.
Fences by Denzel Washington.
Fences. Okay. I'm going to write that down.
James Earl Jones did this for years on Broadway.
Oh, yeah, that's the play. Yep.
That's the play. He did it, and this is for anybody with a family.
I saw a scene of that where he's talking to his
Where he's
son.
talking to his son.
Love about
Yes.
love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Viola Davis is in it. Jovan Adepo, great.
Okay.
Russell Hornsby, great. Yeah, anybody that has children should watch this movie, especially if they're younger, because this is exactly how your kids are gonna think about you most of the time. Why, deprived, you deprived me, all this stuff. Fences, great movie. And then you and I were talking about this Will Ferrell,
Oh, yeah. The new docuseries.
the new docu-series that he's got coming out, in which, what was it called again? I couldn't find it.
I'm
So
looking
coming
it
on
up.
Netflix.
Will and Harper.
Will and Harper. I know this is probably not up our line or avenue that we're going to watch, but I want to watch this because it's about Harper. I cannot remember his last name, but he was a writer on Saturday Night Live, and this gentleman is now transitioning or has transitioned to a woman. I don't know the extent of it, but he wants, basically, they're taking a trip.
Yeah.
Watch this, and
He said, I got an email, and
yeah.
she transitioning to live as a woman. Farrell was supportive of his friend's transition and invited her to go on a road trip with him as this new version of herself, and at the same time figure out what this all means for their friendship.
Now, I understand in this day and age, everybody wants you to accept, and most of the time, we really don't care. But this right here, to me, when you watch the trailer, shows how it's different when it happens to you in a close circle.
Well, that's
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's anything, though. I mean,
Yeah, when it happens to you in a close circle, but when it's the broad spectrum and it's being thrown at you, I think this is going to change some people's minds, not on how to actually look at a different people or different sect. I think this is going to make people, not even the transgender side of it, make them be like, we don't have to force this down your throat.
they've become bullies. They
Have become bullies, but I think, in my opinion, when I watch this, because they're out in public and it's not, and one person even calls him a sir, and he's like, I'm not, and the guy's like, I'm sorry. And
Right.
Then there's another part where he used to go watch the race car series, the open wheel race car series, and he said since he's transitioned, he doesn't get to do this anymore because he feels that he will be bullied. And if anybody knows, racing, that's a redneck sport. It just is, all of it, and there's nothing wrong with being called a redneck. And those guys turn around and say, if you like it, just come out and watch it and sit down and have a beer with us. We don't care.
Nobody cares. That's
Nobody
that's
cares. That's
the
what I'm saying
people.
about this
It's
show. This will open their eyes, everybody's eyes. To me, that's what I got out of it. So I think it's gonna be worth a watch.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In my opinion, just from the trailer, it's gonna be worth a watch. It's showing you that people accept. I mean, we've been accepting everybody. You just go out and be yourself. Nobody cares. That's all I'm getting at.
no. It's like, look. If you want to be different, be different, but don't
Yeah.
expect everybody in society to treat you the way you think you need to be treated. Because honestly, you're not special to society. None of us are. We're just people. And
Yes, exactly.
generally speaking, no one gives a crap what you do. No one.
Right. No.
And the internet is not a real place.
No.
Like, you can fight with people that are anti this, anti that, pro this,
Oh.
pro that, and they're screaming and yelling at each other. You meet them out on the street, they're usually really friendly because they're afraid of getting their ass whooped. Yeah,
it's like we say about the Democrats and the Republicans. It's a cult. Everything is really a cult. Everything is who follows this and that. But when it comes down to it, people don't. They just want to be left alone. They want to come home after a long day, relax. They just want to. I haven't been able to look at X all week because it's just been so much crap, so much fake stuff put out there. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it this week. I just couldn't do it.
So I'm looking up. Yeah. I was looking up because I've heard different things about the term redneck. It goes back to the 1600s, and it's literally about revolution. It's not what we think, because I always heard it was a sunburned neck. That's where it started, was Irish farmers, and people would go, "Oh, he's a redneck," kind of like, he's a dirt farmer.
Hey, do me a favor. When you're done with that, pull up the Harry Potter Redneck Wizard music video so everybody can watch that later on, so they know what they're looking for and they can enjoy rednecks.
Redneck Wizard. Okay, hold on. We're gonna pull this up real quick. Y'all, we're gonna just.
Well, out in the Holland, the southern sun was a boy named Harry, special one, born to the
AI is something else.
AI is amazing.
I'm playing it on there.
It's not letting me see it. Go live.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes, y'all need to watch this, especially if you're a Harry. Now, did I not crack up at this last week?
Yes, you did.
This? I was rolling. It's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah. The only problem I have is in one scene he's got a tattoo on his left arm and then it disappears. Let's see.
Yeah, because there's no tattoo there. At the end of this, he's just jacked.
Yeah. I thought he did. Hogwash. Anyway.
It's so good.
Yeah, you guys look that up.
Redneck. I did not know there was a definition. And you know what? Some of the best people I've ever met they would call themselves rednecks. So I don't mean that in a derogatory.
No,
in a derogatory way.
But I did learn this week that Cowboy was the first organized mafia in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Watching that show?
Yep. First organized crime. So they were technically a mafia. And what's funny is, and I know I'm going back to where we started, but I just thought of this.
We always make circles.
But what's funny is the fact that in American culture, and I think this goes across the board, across the world, we always idolize the bad guy. I mean, like Jesse James, like how many movies have you seen about Jesse James, Frank and Jesse? So they idolized the cowboys. So that became, and now I was like, that's why I don't like cowboys. It's because I'm a decent human being. I've never liked cowboys. Stupid high-heeled shoes.
I've never understood how people say those things are comfortable.
Yeah.
My father made me wear those when I was a kid, and you need to wear these out in public. I bought them. Oh my God, they were the most uncomfortable things I've ever put my feet in.
I had a redneck friend, and somebody got new boots, and he was on the phone with them, and he said, "Well, are they cockroach killers or what? Waffle stompers?" I said, "What the hell? What kind of lingo is that?" He goes, "Well, cockroach killers got a point on it, and the other ones are around it." I was like, "I'm done being your friend for sure."
I thought they were called shit kickers.
Yeah, well, they're that too. Yeah, but
yeah, I got friends that swear by them. I mean, every time I got a buddy that.
Are they short people? Are they short people?
No, he's 6'5". He wears them everywhere he goes out. He's got on a pair of boots.
You should ask him. Is it so it makes your butt look nice? And he's gonna go. Why?
He's bigger than me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he might slap me around a little bit, and I might have to talk out of the other side of my mouth. So I'm probably not going to ask him if he looks good in those shoes. I don't know if it's the same for, because they say high heels on women make their butts look better.
Yeah. That is one of the biggest tropes I wish we could get away from in video games. because every game I play, every woman is running around the woods in high heels, and it kills
They
my
do it in
immersion.
movies.
Yeah,
They do it in movies too. I was like, and then they're always running. Oh, I could run better if I broke the heel, and then they break the heel. Nah, if you'd have put a pair of Nikes on, you'd be running through the woods a lot better.
yeah. I
never
mean,
understood that.
put hiking boots on. Come on.
Yes, some hiking boots. At least have a backpack with some hiking boots on it.
Political. So 19th and 20th century, the term redneck was political term for poor farmers, which is the one that I heard. Coal miners. The term redneck in the early 20th century was occasionally used to reference American coal miner union members who wore red bandanas for solidarity. The sense of a union man dates at least to the 1910s and was especially popular in 20s and 30s. Coal producing regions of West Virginia, so that makes sense why we would say redneck. South Africa, the African term, which translates literally to redneck, is used as a disparaging term for English South Africans. You learned something today.
What you said about what was the one with the red bandanas?
That was the Union guys, the coal miners out of West Virginia. Union.
And that was when?
1920s.
19 what?
1920 to 1930s.
So the Blood Gang actually stole that. So I wonder if they understand that.
Huh? I don't know. This is part of mine. In Scotland in the 1640, oh come on, really? Like this is I'm putting it on screen. I do not know how to say Covenanters rejected rule by bishops, often signing manifestos using their own blood. Some wore red cloth around their necks to signify their position and were called rednecks by the Scottish ruling class. So it's always been kind of a derogatory term. And it's a uniquely white slur. My redneck. I'm taking it back. Redneck is going to be a word that nobody else can use but white people. I said it here first.
Okay.
I was taking to the wrong part.
Yeah. So y'all have homework. Got some movies to watch. The Crow for sure. And the other thing is, I need somebody to come with me and watch Beetlejuice.
I was going to ask you.
I'm not happy about that either. Neither one of my children or my mother has watched the original Beetlejuice. She says she's watched parts of it, but it's not enough for me.
You can't watch part of that movie. You have to watch the entire thing. Michael Keaton's one of my favorite actors. He is like classic America. Like to me, Mr. Mom, Batman, Multiplicity, which he plays different versions of himself. That movie is hilarious.
So good. It's just, I mean, I can't say a movie that I have seen him do that I didn't enjoy.
So we were almost done, and now I'm pulling this up.
I mean, there's some movies that he's probably done that, like Knox Goes Away, that I haven't seen. But I can't say that there's a movie that I've watched that I didn't like.
I haven't seen Birdman, and I've heard that's really good. He's in Spotlight. He wasn't. He was in Morbius. I forgot about that.
See, he was in Spider-Man: Homecoming. I liked The American Assassin. I thought that was a great movie.
I haven't finished that, but it's good. I've just got to the part where he meets Michael Keaton. The Founder was really good about McDonald's.
Yes, it was.
RoboCop. I don't remember him in RoboCop. Go through here real quick, and then we'll be done. I promise we won't keep you that long. King of the Hill. He was in King of the Hill for a couple of seasons, or one episode. A couple of seasons. Learn to read, stupid.
I don't remember him in Jackie Brown either.
Jack Frost. I never saw that.
Jack Frost. I loved that movie because he turned into the Snowman.
Multiplicity is probably one of my favorite Michael Keaton movies because he was a stand-up comedian. I don't know if you know that before he went into acting.
Know that.
Yeah, I think he's from Chicago. I'm not sure on that, but the Batman movies,
Yes.
You can watch them now in retrospect and go, but when we were kids, we grew
were
up
great.
with
Yeah.
grew up with the Adam West Batman was the only Batman we'd ever seen.
Right.
And that is the cheesiest shit you will ever see. Every time they
those
punched,
were cheesy
pow
too.
would pop on the screen.
Uh-huh.
But when they made the Batman movies, the first one, especially with Jack Nicholson as the Joker,
His
Dude.
Joker was great.
Beetlejuice is great, Batman was great, Gung Ho is good.
Gung Ho's a great movie. That's what I
Johnny
was looking for.
Dangerously, I've never seen that. Mr. Mom is great.
Mr. Mom is good. I've seen Johnny Dangerously. It's been a long time.
I've seen Night Shift, but I don't remember it.
A long time ago.
Yeah, so give
Beetlejuice
Beetlejuice
a
a try, the original one. Is it streaming anywhere? Let's see.
On Max.
It's on HBO Max. Okay.
Yes.
That it's funny. It's
And he's dirty.
yeah.
And yeah, it's great. It's a great movie. Check that out. So y'all have some homework. Let us know. Watch football.
Oh, he's born in
Football's going on.
Pennsylvania. Oh, how'd your weekend fantasy go?
It just started Thursday night. First NFL game was Thursday night. So I've scored some points. So
Yeah, so did your wide receiver. He scored a point right in the middle of his chest.
yeah.
God, love it,
Yeah,
man.
they got shot. The weekend before opening. Before the season opened.
And
So yeah, got shot in the chest.
you said he's going to be able to play though, right?
I think he came home 2 days later. So and supposedly the guy that shot him, he got shot too. They were fighting over the gun.
Oh,
So-
jeez.
Yeah, supposedly the 17-year-old that shot him was shot too. So I don't know where. I don't know all about that. But
So
we
do
got
you-
football?
Do you tally your points every week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a different game every week.
All right. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, where can they find us?
Check us out on the X. Odd Times Podcast. We're there. oddtimespodcast@yahoo.com. Send us an email. Tell us how we did. Tell us if you like any of those movies. TikTok, we're on there, and on the gram, Odd Times Podcast. And they can find you on the X somewhere.
With all the sex robots.
I got a whole bunch of those.
Dude, I'm looking right now, real quick. Profile. I have 214 followers, and 213 of those are robots. Anyway, Odd Matt Guy on Twitter. So
All right, guys. Catch y'all later. Have a good week.
yeah. Don't tell him what to do. That's rude.
I know it.
It's a good way to end the podcast. All right, I'm going to kill the stream. For those of you that came to watch, all one of you, I appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
That was me.
Oh, that was you? Yeah, everyone watches us Friday night. They're like, Saturday